Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More curses, black magic and witch doctors. Ancient beliefs at large in remote NT communities. Halfway through a shift and Cara Burgoyne would turn and leave, as if it were a fire drill. The entire building would empty out, deserting any confused newcomer who happened to be shopping in the Angarugu community store on Gruti land. In the Gulf of Carpentaria, indigenous residents widely believe in curses, which can be placed on any person, place or object. The Angarugu community shop, where Ms. Burgoyne used to work, was cursed quite a bit because its closure would impact most of the community. As soon as we heard that the shop had been cursed, we'd just literally drop everything and walk out of the building, she said. Normally no indigenous person stays around long enough to explain what's actually going on. So if you're a newcomer to the place and that's just happened, you're sort of left in the lurch until somebody gets in contact with you and explains what's gone on. Earlier this month it was the Angarugu school and the Centrelink office that fell victim to a curse, forcing them to close for 13 days. The perpetrator was believed to be a man in a bad mood following an argument with his wife. But cutting 159 students off from education for almost 2 weeks sparked a backlash, so the Anindaliakwa ceremonial elders decided that any future curse on public infrastructure would be ignored. It also decided any costs incurred to lift the cursing of the school and Centrelink office, eventually done through a smoking ceremony, would be deducted from Anindaliakwa Land Council administered royalty entitlements of the people who placed the curses. From pure evil to healing powers, but cursing has also been associated with far more sinister incidents, with a 30-year-old man jailed this week for twice raping his 10-year-old stepdaughter, whom he had told he was protecting from lethal black magic. In sentencing the man, Justice Anthony Graham said the community expected the man to be dealt a significant punishment. ARP reported, "Punishment is an important factor, the community must realize, and they in fact expect, that these offenses are grave and any punishment that is given must be of a significant nature," he said. In 2004, the ABC reported the case of Jeremy Anthony, who feared he would die from a curse following the death of his wife, allegedly after he beat her, if he was spared tribal punishment. He was charged with manslaughter and granted bail on the condition he stayed away from his community of Ladimanu, near Catherine. But he broke that condition and returned to be speared 4 times in each leg and beaten with nullas. At the time, his lawyer Peter O'Brien told the ABC that if the legal system wanted Aboriginal people to respect the law, the legal system had to start respecting Aboriginal law. There are also those who draw healing powers from black magic, like Edmund Durdy from the Owenpelli community in Arnhem Land. In 2012, the ABC reported how he cured people touched by the supernatural forces of black magic by taking on their pain. But he said those seeking relief from natural medical problems were referred to the local clinic. What is a curse? Ms. Burgoyne, who no longer works at the shop and is member for Ahem Selina Uibo's electorate liaison officer based on Gruti land, described a curse as taking something out of the spiritual dimension and placing it on an object or a person. The curse itself can be delivered through song, spoken by the person, or by pointing something, like a bone. She explained it was usually done publicly, so the community would find out by word of mouth. While some curses are permanent, in many instances the community then works to remove them. Ms. Burgoyne said this had to be done by specific people, who often had to travel from the mainland to do so. While she said waiting for a curse to be lifted was a frustrating process, it was also a normal part of life in the community. People get frustrated, but at the same time they just go about doing their daily business, she said. It's just a matter of being patient and waiting for the right people who can lift the curse so everything can go back to normal again. The curse on the Angarugu school was removed by a smoking ceremony. Brenda Mathamulawi, who teaches Yolngu studies at Charles Darwin University and is from Elcho Island, said if a person was cursed they would not be able to leave a certain area until it was lifted. But he also said casting the curse could be a dangerous process, and sometimes that person would fall ill afterwards. In indigenous belief, cursing is something that can endanger the life of the person doing the cursing as well as the intended victim, she said. I've seen it. I believe it. Ms. Mathamulawi said curses could be good, as well as evil, particularly the ones she said were rendered through black magic. Sometimes it's evil, sometimes it's not evil, it's just to pay respect or respect the area, she said. Most scary for me is black magic, which is cursed. In her lifetime, she said she had experienced this kind of curse twice. The first time was when she fell sick watching a football game in Arnhem Land. She said she was sweaty, had a swollen shoulder and was unable to sleep for days. Although she visited the hospital, she said it was not until a family member massaged her shoulder that she was cured. I could feel that she was starting to lift something from the inside. I don't know how, I don't know why, she said. It came out. It was some sort of a little spear or hair or something. Or long grass. Really scary. Once it lifted out, then my body started to go back to normal. The second time, she said her uncle was acting so strangely her family called a witch doctor to help him. It was something within him. Someone did something to his head, like cursed, she said. We had a little family meeting. We said, we are going to ask someone to come here, like a witch doctor. When the witch doctor came to the island, we told him to see my uncle. He didn't know who he was, but he felt there was someone good, someone who would lift that curse out. Half an hour, then the witch doctor said, come on, it's okay now. When I went inside, he was on the bed like a normal person. He was better like a normal person. And he asked, what happened to me? Ms. Mahamula, we said these experiences had convinced her of the traditional beliefs. I've seen it, I believe it, I know it's still going on, she said, striking a balance. Ms. Mahamula, we said many elders throughout Arnhem Land had directed residents to ignore curses on public infrastructure, given the integral role ancient beliefs in things like curses, black magic and witch doctors continued to play in the community. The move marked a shift. But she explained it was crucial these instructions were given by elders, rather than others who had no understanding of the belief system. Sometimes the white fella guys say, why? What is curse? They don't understand. Sometimes we have to explain to people, she said. We just have to explain it to them somehow to make them know it's our tradition and custom. Ms. Mahamula, we also said the ban on cursing public infrastructure made sense, given how frustrating it was to have these places off limits in a tiny community with no alternatives. But both women said they were proud of the way the traditional customs had been retained. To me, it's not surprising the tradition is continuing on and will probably continue on for a lot longer. Ms. Burgoyne said. The Anandiliakwa Land Council could not be reached for comment. Print, email, Facebook, Twitter.